Okay, so if you love the metaphysical or the spiritual and you have not heard of plasma beings, you're going to want to hear this. So there's this guy, Jacques Vallée, or however you pronounce this. He is a computer scientist and venture capitalist, and he wrote this book that should be way more popular called Passport to Magonia. And he believes similar things to me. I'm first going to explain what he says and then what I think about it, and maybe expand on it a little bit, give my divine feminine twist. But this is a whole nother view of what these plasmoids, these UFOs we've been seeing are, and I think it tracks. So basically, this book explores the connection between UFO phenomena and historical folklore. So he challenges the conventional beliefs about UFOs, suggesting that they're encounters with otherworldly beings that have been a consistent part of human experience, and they're interpreted differently across cultures and different times, hinting at the psychology, which is what I'm trying to yell from the rooftops here, but it's not as newsworthy. But this literally connects everything to our psyche, guys. Like, this is the most important news. So he thinks that these beings, let's call them plasma beings. Let me interject very quick if you haven't been here before. What is plasma? It is called the fourth state of matter in science. It is a supercharged energetic state where atoms lose their electrons. This creates a mix of I'll leave that in. This creates a mix of a soup of floating electrons and ions. Think of lightning, neon lights, and the glowing stuff in the sun, the stars. That is all plasma. It's also the aurora borealis. Why he uses plasma phenomena specifically is because plasma, the fourth state of matter, has unique properties. It glows. Many UFO sightings describe glowing lights or orbs that resemble plasma's radiant flowing appearance. As you see here, plasma is also dynamic. It is adaptable. It can change shape or form. Plasma literally means to mold or to be molded in Greek, how it got its name. It can move unpredictably. It reacts to magnetic and electrical fields, just like many UFO sightings say. Plasma also interacts with its environment. It can interact with air, water, and even people in very strange ways. It creates electromagnetic effects, light displays, and even psychological experiences. So some people like me believe that plasma is a sentient medium that is a vehicle for consciousness. Think of it as the realm of feeling, and consciousness is the realm of thought. I'm literally writing a book on it. You could sign up. The link is in my bio, all about plasma and consciousness. And he ties this idea that plasma holds consciousness, which would mean that it's, almost like an Akashic field, this fourth dimension of all these thoughts and feelings. And this is the same stuff that's scooped up by higher conscious beings that come to us in these plasma UFOs to almost like remote view us. He also thinks specifically that this intelligent plasma, since it interacts with consciousness, is interacting with our belief systems. Plasma can mirror human consciousness and emotions. It is highly reactive and reflective, at least the plasma I'm studying. So he does think that this phenomena comes from other dimensions. It's interdimensional. These beings or intelligences have always coexisted with us throughout time. You've seen it in art and mythology. It is not new. And they were shaped by our cultural events, experiences, beliefs. You might see them as witches or demons or aliens or jinn. It all depends on where you are in the world and what your beliefs are, suggesting also that they're reflective, but probably the same base energy or base plasma before our consciousness or our beliefs are applied to viewing this or observing this. So he's explored the idea that these plasma fields or energetic forms can play a role in the UFO manifestations. He has also connected these orbs of light sightings to will-o-wisps, which I think are also plasma. They've also been called fairy lights or foolish fire because they're kind of playful. And they could be plasma-based intelligences or manifestations. They can also act as portals, probes, or avatars for multidimensional entities. And they can interact directly with human consciousness because they're plasma and our emotions and beliefs. So now the question is, can they be weaponized? Because I don't know if I can say that word. He thinks this phenomena can influence our perception of reality. It could be teaching us lessons, prompting evolution, or shaping our belief systems. Think of getting a download. It might be also where inventions come from and how we get these ideas that shape our technological process. It could trigger altered states of perception, us having intuition, or spiritual experiences. I agree with that. He also says in the book that this is still a complex and unresolved thing. I'm still tackling it, and it's 2024, and he wrote this in like the 60s or 70s, way before his time. But it proves that a group of people has known about this for a long time. Now, when I say a group of people, interestingly enough, he also wrote a book called Messengers of Deception, UFO Contacts and Cults that came out this last year, 2024. It's basically a critical examination of the UFO phenomenon. It's connected to psychological manipulation, the emergence of cults. So he still says that UFOs are not just spacecrafts. They can involve interdimensional entities or psychological and sociological factors. He thinks there might be deliberate deception going on by these intelligences, which I don't think is true, or what he says is human organizations. He's on the money there. Basically, now that I'm sure some of us have learned how to harness plasma for the bad, which sucks, but you can harness it for either one, you can influence people's belief systems and consciousness with it, unfortunately. But I promise you there's a way to counteract this, which I will tell you. There's no reason to be scared. He also talks about the rise of UFO-related cults and movements that claim to have this special knowledge or contact with extraterrestrial beings. I do think people have that knowledge, but I also think we should never form cults around it. Because the thing is, I'll tell you, when you get this knowledge from plasma, it is for you and only you. Unfortunately, if you go out and tell the world the message is for you, not everyone will resonate with them. You can go out and say these intelligences exist, which is what I'm trying to do, and make it more neutral. But the key is to teach people how to connect with plasma in a benevolent way and how to empower yourself to learn your own answers, which is what I'm doing in my book. Link in bio. I know I keep talking about it. I want to get the knowledge out there. He doubles down on thinking that they're all part of a control system. I don't think all of them are. I think the human-made ones are. Or maybe even some, anything influenced by humans. He urges people that come into contact with UFOs to have skepticism and critical thinking. Don't fall into dogmatic beliefs. Don't blindly trust these entities or cult leaders claiming to represent extraterrestrial or otherworldly beings. I actually really agree with that. Once again, all the answers are inside of you. No one has the answer for you. And you should always approach everything with discernment. So he's spot on there. Okay, so here's the thing. I feel like he's right, but there's some twists. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, meaning that we have control over what we want to see. Once we realize we have the power of choice, which is our human given right. And we have the power of belief, more powerful than you know. These plasmas are reflective. They reflect our conscious state of fear or curiosity. If we look at them neutrally and objectively, we see the truth. If we look at them from fear or love, we see what we want to see or what subconsciously we'll see. Demonic or an angel, blah, blah, blah. When they're really just translucent plasma beings that are sentient. But some of them do hold consciousness. They're two different kind of things. And some can be a little creepier, but they're all made out of the same benevolence. So that's why your fear, don't have fear, because that'll spark it. And also, yes, maybe there are people trying to psychologically manipulate you, but guess what? If you come from a state of neutrality, it won't work on you. It literally won't. As long as we know how to consciously work with this plasma in a neutral, curious, benevolent way, we're gravy. And I am writing about that in my book, but you can literally just ask inside your soul. Your heart has all the answers. Just like Carl Jung talks about in the collective unconscious, this plasma field, when interacting with our consciousness without it being harnessed or controlled, or we're aware, you can see everything from archetypes, like storybook figures. Some have great lessons for us, so this is not all bad. We can see beasts of all kinds. These are very real, but once again, they're all made up of the same stuff. That is not scary. There are all these beings and more in this fourth dimensional plasma space. If you want to connect with a neutral plasma or a higher intelligence, think of it as going from our 3D reality right to a more 5D reality or a neutral plasma. This 4D reality is mostly what this guy is talking about, which is a mix of consciousness and plasma that is chaotic, a realm of potentials, love and hate, emotion. And the fourth dimension is projected by a 2-dimensional base plasma. You can call the one dimension a singularity or a higher consciousness, which penetrates all dimensions besides the second, which is the substrate of reality plasma. This is a cool way to look at it. Fourth dimension, second dimension, third. This is another way to visualize it, kinda. AI kinda got there with me. Once you learn how to neutrally connect with this quasi-neutral space, you can download pure intelligence from your higher self. You don't need to be caught up in all these distractions of fear. But sometimes you can be. It's life. Just be aware of it. I ran out of